So I just wanted to talk to you guys, for a few minutes, and something that has been weighing on my mind is the importance of an oath. I have seen quite a couple of things over the past few days that has just triggered, you know, my knowledge of what oath is, and made me go back to sort of research what God's word says about an oath. And one of the key things I know is that God does not play about vows, He doesn't play about oaths. And I just want to encourage you, if you have made an oath to God, because nowadays people don't value it anymore, keep that oath to God, to your spouse, to your occupation. Um, there are some people who make an oath. Um, for example, those of us who were called to the order of an engineer, we made an oath after we graduated and to the order of an engineer. I know doctors do the same. I know, people, nurses or whatever, presidents, senators, you all do that. You all make an oath. And I want to just encourage you. I know it's hard, especially coming from me. I've been, in a marriage that I thought would last, and and even before I say anything, if you don't feel safe, I'm not talking to you, because I do understand. I've been in a marriage where I didn't feel safe, and even though I love him, I can't be under the same roof with him. So yeah, that's understandable. But if, as to the best of your ability, you can keep that marriage going, please stay. Please, yeah, because I know how hard it was, even for our parents, my mom, and I know a lot of people who were raised in the 70s, in the 80s. Our parents, our mothers, like, stuck it through it. Um, well, you would say my mom died in her marriage, but I know that a lot of women who are still alive today went through this, similar things. They went through cheating, their husbands cheating. They went through, you know, questionable things in the marriage, but they stuck it through. And in those days, they didn't even have therapy. In those days, they never even had therapy, and people were able to, with the word of God. I know most of these women were in church. Those are our mothers in church, those who would get us together and tell you, don't wear that thing to come to church anymore. Those are our mothers. And those were the women who stuck it through their marriages. They were married 65 years, 75. I remember my first marriage, those were the people we went for counseling to. Like, I selected special people that have been in marriage for 60, 70 years. I remember one of the couple that we met with. Oh, she was so wonderful. When we went into their house was so beautiful. I'm like, I want to be like you, ma'am. And my first husband was my first love. I wanted everything, you know um, when it comes to our marriage. I wanted it to be perfect. And before he died, we were married 8 years. The first thing that lady told me, immediately we walked into the house, and I love aesthetics, I love glam, I love, like, their house was beautiful, and that was the first thing I said. I was like, whew, I love this house. And she was like, if you it's confidential, but you might not know who I'm talking about. But she said, if you walk into a room and meet your man on top of another woman, would you divorce him or not? That was the first question. We didn't even have a session yet. That was the first thing she asked me. I was shocked. I was just like, you know, but we had never even thought about that because my husband never cheated on me. He was like the best man in the world. I've never ever been cheated on before that time. So I was like, I don't even know how to respond to that. And she said the vow you're taking, the oath you are making today on the day of your wedding is for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness, in health. And cheating can be the worst thing that could ever happen. You know, domestic violence is even for me is the worst, because I was never expecting it. But again, as I said before, if you don't feel safe, even if it's not domestic violence, if you feel like you've been manipulated, you feel like you've been marginalized, or there's something that is making you feel unsafe, it's okay to move away, to go, to leave, But if it's something you can fix, if it's something you can talk about, quite frankly, especially the way I love my husband, if it was anything that we could have talked through or went to therapy for, or if he was willing to do the work, and you know that is not violence, that doesn't have to do with violence, I believe that we could have made it happen. And obviously, that is just hypothetical now, but I'm just saying to any woman out there who, I know it's hard, but if it's something as simple as a toothpaste, or you're liking some woman's picture and there's no concrete evidence that he ever dated them or messed around, please just forgive and just move on, because there are some women who have gone through the worst, I'm telling you, and today they're enjoying the fruit of their labor, they're enjoying their marriage, and people do change. I know sometimes, especially like I've been in that relationship, my second husband, that I thought he will never change. But God told me, you prayed for him, right? So he's going to change. He's not going to be changing for me now. He's going to be changing for God. But he will change. That I have that conviction about, because I prayed for him. There are a lot of people I've prayed for and I've seen the results. There's nobody I pray for that God doesn't answer. Even for myself. I boast about that all the time, that God answers my prayers. It might take 2 days, it might take 5 years, it might take 6 years. There's specific people who, especially when I was struggling trying to babysit my daughter, I didn't have enough money for the daycare, because I used to pay $1,000 for just her in the daycare, and then $400 for my son. So I was looking for someone to help me with babysitting, and there were certain people who helped me. Maybe I'll just give them $100 a week or something, and I knew exactly what they needed. I prayed for them. Some of them I didn't even pray, but just because they were around my daughter, they were taking care of my daughter, God just blessed them. The thing that they really wanted, like the fruit of the womb or marriage or whatever they wanted, God just gave it to them. So there are certain people that I know that if I have prayed for them, God is going to answer. He's going to answer in his own time, because it's according to his will. I don't pray anything that is off his will. His desire is for my husband to be in his right mind and to quit, the addiction. Now, it might take forever. It might take whenever. But he's not doing it for me now. He's going to do it for God. But again, as I have always told him, even before we got married, I said, this vow I'm taking is not just to you. I'm taking this vow to God. And that's why decisions have been hard for me to take, because I am very serious about my oath to God. And so I just want to encourage you, because I have been lied on by someone who took an oath. The person was under oath, And the thing that she was lying about me is something that is public knowledge. Like you can go Google it, you can go find it, you can go to do the register. She was not even looking at the right register, or pretended as if she was looking at some register. There are tons of registers that she could find my name on, and that was not even one of, like, I have tons of certifications, and she lied on the oath. It made me like really start thinking, how does this person says she's a nurse, and she and her husband, both of them, were lying on the oath. So I know that in our world right now, we have a lot of people who just lie, for no reason at all. And they don't care about their oaths anymore. They divorce, they get married today, divorce tomorrow. They, and again, as I said, there are some understandable, like domestic violence. Don't stay there, please. If you have to divorce. Okay, some of us can live without a man for years. We're fine. But if you want to divorce, if that's your thing, or you've talked to God about it, you're okay with that, go ahead, please. That is understandable. Cheating also, it's actually, infidelity is sanctioned by God. To You can divorce, but if it's something you can walk through, really, if it's something you can walk through, please walk through it. And if you have taken an oath, especially for an occupation, whatever work you're doing, protect your oath, and maintain that oath, because it's important. It is. And so I didn't plan to stay long here. I planned 15 minutes, and I'm going to stick by that. But I just wanted to say, in our world where people don't value oaths, God values oaths. I was doing a retreat in my house years ago, and I told the ladies that when I was in the university, we had a group of young girls that we were praying midnight prayers. And after one of the midnight prayers, I remember going to my dorm and making a list. I made a vow to God of the things that I would do for him. And at that time, I didn't have money. I was on scholarship. I didn't have anything. So the only thing I thought in my head was, oh, I can sing. But then later on, I realized I can do so much more with my voice, not just sing. But then I made a whole list of the things I want God to do for me. And for me, what I wanted to do for God, I just said sing. I think I put the couple of things that I have really done. I made up my mind to do. But the most of what I said was just, I will sing for you. That's all. But the things that I listed for God to do for me were a lot. And can you imagine? It was, I think, in the 7th or 8th year of my marriage, just before my husband died, I found that list. I found that list, and I was baffled. I was blown away that every single thing I put on that list that I wanted God to do for me, I started feeling ashamed, to a point that I think that was why I started doing so much for God afterwards, because everything I said I was going to do, I hadn't even done half of it, at that time. But now I believe I have done everything I put on that list, but I still have more. I still have more in me. But one of the things that I just want to pinpoint is that God answered every single thing I put, to the tiniest, minuscule, silly 19-year-old mind. Because in my mind, at 19-year-old, I was putting things like, oh, I want a boy first. When I have my son, when I give birth, I want to have a boy first, and then I want to have a girl. Those silly things. God answered every single thing to detail, to even who I'm married. And at that time, I had not even met my first husband yet. I hadn't even met him yet. So I didn't even know that would be the kind of man. But at every single thing I put, to the point that I said I wanted him to be an engineer like myself. I wanted him to, because with me, I don't look at a man's looks as much. Well, maybe facial, yeah. I love cute guys. But things like, six pack or, nah, I'm not interested in all of that. But the things that I put was, I wanted him to be kind. I wanted him to love me. I wanted him to be affectionate. I wanted him to love quality time and, homebody like me. All those funny, funny, silly things. God answered to the T. It made me so like, I'm like, wow. If God was that faithful to a silly 19-year-old just putting things down, God is faithful. God is faithful. God does not take an oath lightly. And that is why he said, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. If you are serious about swearing on anything, in fact, that's why God said don't swear on anything. But if you take an oath, if you make a covenant, if you covenant yourself to God, God honors it. Those of you who have, given up to celibacy, I probably might do a couple of things on that. You have given up yourself. God is not gonna let you just fly by. He's gonna honor his word. He's gonna give you the desires of your heart. So this is just an encouragement. Be strong and stick to your oath, whatever oath you give, as much as you can, as far as you can, because we're humans. Because I've never been cheated on, but if I have, because I don't go digging, so probably somebody had cheated on me, but I didn't know, because I don't dig for nothing. I don't care, except because God shows me anyway. Like if you're doing something, whatever, God will show me. God will tell me. God will tell people to tell me, or I'll see it with my own eyes. So I don't go digging for nothing. So probably somebody cheated on me. I don't know. But to the best of my knowledge, I've never been cheated on. So probably I might not fully understand what it means, but I know how much I love. Like the way I loved my first husband and even my second husband, the way I love to be cheated on would be like stabbing me over and over. So yeah, it's hard, and I have been lied on tons of times, so I know what betrayal means. So as best as you can, I'm not going to say as best as you can, if you can work it out, please work it out. And for your job, please keep that oath, without prejudice, without any racial thing. Just do it as unto the Lord, because that vow you didn't make to man, you made it to God. Thank you and have a great night. Bye.